Hi guys, it's Emily from Nobel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my January wrap up part 1. Now, gonna start being realistic. This is not the month I'd imagined. This is the start, obviously this is the month that I'm running the past and future readathon with the lovely Gemma from Read a Book Gem. But I was not expecting to be homeschooling my children, so this has affected my reading. It's also affected my mood. I'm keeping it real on here. I have had some really low days this week. I'm filming this on the 16th, but my book's up to the 15th, which is bang on halfway through the month. But yeah, it's been a really up and down week, and I'm being real, it's been a really hard time. But I'm grateful so much to my friends for keeping me going and my sisters. I'm the luckiest girl in the world for my friends and family. Gemma from Read a Book Gem has been amazing. I've had Ange reach out to me. I've had Chloe. I've had my sisters. You guys all know Charlie, who used to have a channel on here, Charlie Brick. Check her out on Instagram from Pickler's mum. She's not only my sister, she's my best friend in the world. And yeah, she's really helped me. But I have had some, it's been a really up and down like half of the month so far. I've got 5 3-star books, which is, I swear, is a lot more than normal. I've had 4 4-star books and 6 5-star books. So it's been a real up and down month. Some books have really impressed me. Some books have been really disappointed me. And it's actually been a real month this month where I didn't expect the 5-star ones are not actually ones that I expected to be 5 stars. And the 3-star ones are ones I really had a lot more hopes for. So let's hope that the second half of the month is more on the 5 and 4 stars. I just don't like 3 stars. 3 stars are like, some of them were 3 stars, but they were nearly 2 stars. It was a really bit of a juggle. Anyway, typical me rambling. Let's show you what I'm currently reading. So, I am, today, the 16th, I'm starting The Woman Who Went to Bed with a Year with Gaia and Ange with an E. This is a book that I start reading on Saturday, so by the time this goes live on Monday, I would have read it. I would have read a few days worth of it. The day her twins leave home, Eva climbs into bed and stays there. For 17 years, she wanted to yell at the world, "Stop, I want to get off." Finally, this is her chance. I don't need to read any more of this to you guys. I don't know about you guys, but right now, I really want to shout out, I want to get off. I want to have a pause. But this is also, sounds like it's got a lot of humour in it, and it's just the kind of book I really need. Love budging reading with Ange and Gaia. They're both two absolutely like perfect ladies, and I can't wait to start this. As soon as I finish filming this video, I'm literally going to read it. I'm also buddy reading this, our mutual friend, with Gemma from Read a Book Gem. Can I be honest? Not loving it. Don't understand it. I don't know if it's just that my head is not in the right place for classics at the moment. For classics, you really need to be able to absorb. And when you're trying to read, when you've got 2 very noisy children running around, it's really hard to get into it. So it's one that, yes, it may not be brilliant at the moment, but it's one that I will be keeping and rereading when things settle down. The way things are going, it'll be next year, but I'm going to keep it. It is a good book, but it's not one that I don't understand it all, so sorry about that. I'm listening to, on audiobook, I'm listening to Faking Friends. I'll tell you one book that is a book that I'm borrowed from my sister Charlie, so it's not on my TBR. It is This Lovely City by Louise Hare. This is historical fiction. It was not my TBR, but it's one that Charlie lent me, and it's one that I wanted to read at bedtime. So by the time this goes live, I would have finished it. So look on Goodreads for my rating. But at the moment, I think I'm going to finish it tonight. I think it's going to be either 4 or 5 stars. The drinks are flowing, the music is playing, but the party can't last. This tackles race in a really good way. Now, obviously, we hear a lot about race in other countries, but to hear about the way Britain was post-war in England and how the police and everyone treated the Jamaicans and people that came over from other countries, this is really hard hitting. And it's also tackling about a child that's found in a lake dead, and that, as a mum, I'm finding hard hitting. But it's beautifully written. It's a really good book. It's one that I'm quite surprised how much I'm loving it. Nearly finished it last night, but I needed to get some sleep. So yes, can't wait. Love this book. It will be finished tonight, so you guys will know before I do, in kind of why I rated it. Now let's get on with the books that are my 3-star books. I've kind of ordered it in a different way, actually. I'm kind of thinking I might pile myself. I'm not organised, sorry guys. not myself. Let's start with the 3-star books. So the first one, which was my first book I read of the month, which was The Robber Bridegroom. I read this for my translated fiction for the readathon. This has short stories by the Brothers Grimm. Some of these short stories are amazing. So we had my favourite one, which was Snow White. Obviously loved that. And I also loved... Where is the other one? The Robber Bridegroom. They're two of the short stories in this that I loved. But there were other ones that I didn't necessarily like. Read them because I thought I should read them. I do want to read more of Brothers Grimm books. And actually it was really interesting to read Snow White in this, which is only a few short pages of Snow White, to my retelling, which is actually one of the highest star ratings on books. So that's an interesting bit. Did enjoy this, but it was only 3 stars. But this is probably one of my higher 3 stars. I need to do what Bernard does and like rate my books out of 10 rather than just out of 5. Because I find rating them out of 5 is really hard. Now my last book that I finished on, the 15th, was SelfProject Girl by Margaret Dickinson. I read this for a book recommended by an older relative. My mum recommended this. I expected more about the suffragettes in this book. I thought it was going to be purely about the suffragettes. And there are stuff at the start that I will warn you, some of the things that happened to suffragettes when they got imprisoned is very tormenting. So if you go into this, be aware you're going to get some real triggers, because some of the things that happened in there is really, really hard. And that bit of the book was very interesting, very hard-hitting. Like I said, be warned, it was very emotional. Then it kind of took a different turn. And then we went down Florrie's journey from after the suffragettes. So this is when we started the Great War. Now, I must admit, if you think about it in the fact that we hear a lot about the Great War from the male's point of view, but we don't hear much about the females. And Florrie went over to France to act as a nurse. She trained up to be a nurse so she could go and fight and help people in France. Because her brother was over there. He constricted himself. That was really hard to be warned. Some really emotional bits. So you hear about her stuff over there. And then post that, what happens to her? I'm not going to give any spoilers. But you hear, and she kind of goes on this journey. But she makes some really silly decisions in this book. And I found myself going, like, wanting to shake her. I know we all make irresponsible decisions. We're all young once. She's quite young throughout most of this book. But some of her decisions I felt were quite selfish. And I was like, come on, sort yourself out here. There are other people around you. So it was a good book. I'm glad I read it. It's 3 stars. Thanks, Mum, for recommending it. And I do like Margaret Dickinson. But to me, it was not the book that I wanted it to be. But that will be going to charity shop. So let me go and throw that over there. I think I'll keep that. Short story. Now, the book that my daughter recommended to me, I rated it 3 stars, but I think I should have done what Chloe from Chloe Reads Books does and not give it a rating, because it was 3 stars. It was an alright book. It was like halfway through the series. So very, 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 very middle grade. Like probably more the 7-8 age range middle grade than normally the older age middle grade that I love. So this is a series that Mia would definitely like, because it's gruesome and disgusting at points, but it's in a series, and I think I need to buy her the whole series, so she's going to get that back. Now, the next 2 3-star books are ones that I am so disappointed in. They are 3 stars because the writing is good, but I expected them both to be 5 stars, and I am absolutely frigging gutted. The first one was The Beekeeper Developer, which I buddy read with the lovely Ange from Ange with an E. This has had mixed reviews. Now, Charlie from Charles Keithcote hated it. Gemma from Read a Book Gem liked it but didn't love it. Julie from The Hungry Bookworm loved it. When we were in the first lockdown and I went to the supermarket, I decided I wanted to buy a book. I paid full price for this. I am totally and utterly peed off at myself. And I promise, Charlie, if you say you don't like a book, I'm never going to try it again. And Gemma, I know I need to listen to you all the time. Julie, I can understand why Julie liked it, and I'm just gutted that I didn't. The storyline is quite good. Nuri is a beekeeper, his wife Afia an artist. They live happily in the beautiful Syrian city of Aleppo until the unthinkable happens and they're forced to flee. But what Afra has seen is terrible, and she's going blind, and they embark on a perilous journey through Turkey and Greece for a future in Britain. There is so much potential in this book. It started off really good and I expected to be very emotional. I expected to love it. I expected to cry in it. I thought it had so much potential, and then it didn't develop as much as it could have done. It talked about lots of other characters. It talked about lots of other things. Don't get me wrong, what the torment they went through was horrible. And I'd never want to describe any of like what the refugees went through. But it could have been so much better. Chris is going to kill me, but I think this is going to be a charity shop. There was also a twist at the end that I didn't get, and it was actually only Ange that got it. Hence why I love buddy reading, because people can sometimes bring out more things in books. This is one that I'm gutted that's going to the charity shops when they bloody reopen. You guys at Baz Books are going to be getting this, because it's one I think other people might like, but I really didn't want. Now the next one I've got to keep because it's a beautiful book. My favourite book of 2019, one of my favourite books of 2019 was The Binding. So I had to pay full price for this. The Betrayals. I buddy read it with Gemma from Read a Book Gemma again. I keep telling you channel names, you're going to have these names indented into you. I expected so much of this. I expected it to be the favourite book of the year. I expected it to exceed my ratings, but I did not understand a single bloody bit of it. I really struggled with it. I didn't, when I saw it, when I opened it up, I didn't even look, because I'd loved The Binding so much. I thought The Betrayals is going to be automatically as good. I thought, I'm not even going to read what it's about. It's by the same author. Loved the first one. Gonna love this. And I didn't understand half of it. At Mount View, an exclusive academy tucked away in the mountains, the best and brightest are trained for excellence in Grand Jeu, an arcane and mysterious contest. I didn't understand that bit. I will say one thing, that if you're going into this, there is in the author's note, it actually does give a bit more description about what the book's about. Next time, and I think if you're going to read it, read the author's note first, because you'll get a lot more out of it. Neither me or Gemma got half of it. It could have had so much potential if they would have explained the arcane art. If you could understand what the hell. There's a character in this called the Rat, which I still don't understand who or what the rat is, what it's supposed to symbolise, what it's supposed to mean, any of it. I just don't get it. I'm keeping it so I can reread it another time and pray that I get more out of it, but I really didn't. I rated it 3 stars because at the end I got a bit more, things tied together a bit more, and the ending was good. But looking back, should I have rated it 2 or 2.5 stars? I don't know. I think 3 stars might even be too high for this book, to be honest, because I just didn't get it. It was a big chunky book. It's like over 400 pages. It's a beautiful book. Look, you know, guys, it's one of the most beautiful books I've ever owned, and it's gorgeous, and I love it, and I've got to keep it. But had I not bought this hardback, should I have waited for the paperback? Yeah, I should have. I recommend The Binding to everyone. For me, I would say it's not necessarily worth paying full price for this book. But I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna put it on my shelves and try again. But this was probably my most disappointing book of the month because it had so much potential. Now let's talk about some happier books. I'm already on 13 minutes. I'm aware I'm chatting quite a lot here. Oops, sorry guys. So my 4-star books, and these are all books that I enjoyed. They're not as explosive as 5 stars, but every single one of them had something and meant something to me. A Thousand Perfect Notes, When Passion Turns into Obsession. I will be giving this away because I know I won't read it, but I'm gutted to be giving it away because look at the spade edges. We've also got the signed, actually I don't know. Chloe, if you're watching this, can you tell me, should I keep this and try again with it, or should I give it away? I got it from a charity shop. This was really hard hitting. It does tackle child abuse, so be warned. Go into this knowing that there were going to be some hard bits. Beck's mother, a famous pianist, lives out her shattered dreams to her son. Crushed by her violence and forced to play the piano until his hands bleed, Beck is broken until August comes along. Yes, there's a lovely, cute little romance. Yes, that's lovely. But the hard-hitting stuff, it was a 3, and I would say it's 3.5, but it went to 4 because at the end, the way it tackled the last bit of it, upped it. It increased it. Like there's a couple of books on here that have gone up their star rating purely because of the ending, and the ending really did. It was 3.5 to 4 stars, but I did enjoy it. I'm glad I read it. Love reading books with Chloe from Chloe Reads Books. She's a diamond. Guys, she's just hit her 900 subscribers. Let's get her up to 1,000. She bloody deserves it. She's one of the loveliest ladies I've ever. And this is a very good book. But there's some bits like, you get like, why did the schools not notice the abuse? Why do people not see what's happening? We used to foster, and some of it's really hard. I do love the relationship though between Beck and his little sister. That's really cute. She is a cute character and I loved her. So I did enjoy this, but I know I will be honest, it will have to go to charity. Because can I really realistically read a book about abuse or anything like that twice? No. I did enjoy it. What I'm a bit disappointed about, and I think I'm not going to keep this, and that's The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. This had potential. Again, it was a 4 stars, but it only got to a 4 stars at the end because the ending was really good. But this is about, so this lady, Liv Wright, she gets sent, she's an English nurse, sorry about this, she knows. She gets sent to Ireland to look after an 11-year-old Anna O'Donnell, who hasn't eaten for anything for months but appears to be thriving miraculously. Liv's job is simple: watch the girl and uncover the truth. As an educated sex skeptic, Liv expects to expose the facts as a hoax right away, but as she gets to know the girl, she becomes more and more unsure. Is Anna a fraud or a living wonder? This again had potential. It was our group read for the readathon. It was alright. The first half was very slow paced and the second half picked up, which is why it got 4 stars. I think a lot of us on our little group chat was either rating it 3 or 4 stars. I did rate it 4 stars because I did love Liv, but some of the stuff at the start, the pacing was so slow. And we read it over 5 days, so we read a lot in that time. And I probably, if I was going at it slow, I might maybe have got more. But did enjoy it, but it's not necessarily the best Emma Donoghue's book. That I will say for shortly. So that's another one to go to charity shops. Excuse me. Now, oh, I've got another 2 more 4 stars. Sorry about this, guys. Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. I friggin' like this. I'm now going to read all of Sarah Waters' works. Now, the guys at Gunpowder and Picture and Plot, Niall and Scott, have raved about this book. So many people raved about this. But my sister Charlie didn't like it. So I went in this with open eyes. It was my book. An author that one of your best friends likes. So that was Gemma likes Sarah Waters' books. I friggin' enjoyed this. It was hard-hitting. It tackled stuff. It was set in London in 1862. Sue Trinder, orphaned at birth, grows up amongst petty thieves, Fingersmith, under the rough but loving care of Mrs. Suxby and her family. There again, very hard-hitting stuff. Some abusive bits, some really, really hard bits. And there's also some really raunchy bits in this. I fucking loved it. LGBTQ plus bits in it that I loved. This was brilliant. I am going to read all of Sarah Waters' works. And Nell and Scott, you weren't half right. I friggin' love this. And I have got 2 more books by this author. But I'm going to look for a lot more. Loved it. But it's not one I'm going to reread. So it will be going to charity shop. But I really, really did. This was surprised me. I'm going to be strict on myself. That's why I'm not going to keep. It's only a 4-star book's only going to get kept if it's friggin' like I know I'll reread it. But I think I want other people to read this. Loved it. If anyone wants me to send it to them, let me know, because it is really good. Oh, I think I might say, no, sorry, I can't say that. I'm giving that to Gemma when I see her. Now, the next one is a book that I'm going to be lending to my sister Charlie. Gemma gave it to me. It's from an era in history that I hadn't read before. The Conjuring Woman. This is, again, really good. 4 stars, but a good 4 stars. After Miss Maybelle died, they said that the river had swelled up to fit all the wheat for her. Living water has swallowed up the whole. Proud stalks of the cotton, and Miss Rue, the only one left to sustain her mother's curse, found herself afeard of what the river water might dredge up, secret things better left hidden that haunted her, and a curse that might rise to the surface. This is beautifully written, very hard-hitting, very emotional, but very, very good. Charlie, you're going to love to read this. Sorry, I'm having to go a bit faster. Now onto my 5-star books. There's a few of them that you would have predicted that are going to be 5 stars. First one was my children's classic for the month, Heidi. I love this. It was like going back to my childhood, and I could see myself reading this book in my bedroom with Charlie. I could see us and I could see Vicky as well, my other sister, and I could see the adventure. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. I could see us having these adventures. I can remember reading this with my mum. I can remember an innocent childhood growing up, and I can remember the fields and that we had when we lived in our old house. I can remember building glass houses. It was like being a child again, and I loved it. Love this book. I really want Mia to read it. It's such a good classic. Really good, feel good. It's one of the best. Sorry. Now, another children's classic that I loved is The Twits. This made me laugh, and at a time when I need to laugh, I laughed my head off with this. You guys know that The Twits is one of Roald Dahl's funniest books, and I loved it. That was always going to be 4 or 5 stars. Calm down, God. Now, a book that surprised me, and I didn't expect it to be 5 stars. I'm so tempted. Chloe, do you want this? Because I'm really tempted to send this to Chloe. Snow White and the Huntsman. This is a Snow White retelling, which I read for on our Facebook group that we've got. A bookish, I can't remember the name of our Facebook group. Chloe knows it. Go and check Chloe out. She'll ask her. But we're running, we're having this group challenger event at the moment, and we're reading books for this challenges, and I'm on Chloe's team. And one of the prompts for Chloe's team was to read a fairy tale retelling, and this is a Snow White retelling. And you know, I love my fairy tale retellings, and this is every bit as amazing as I thought. And apparently the film has got that sexy guy in it that we all love. Okay, Chris Hemsworth. Oh, I want to see the film. I want to see Chris Hemsworth. He's drop dead gorgeous. And this retelling is one that I've never read about. It's about Snow White being feisty. And it's about the 7 Dwarfs being different. And it's not Snow White. And it's Snow White with feist. And oh my God, I freaking loved it. I read it so quickly. It's so good. I really don't know what to do. It's going on that pile of I don't know whether to send it to Chloe or keep it. I really don't. It's so good. Now, a book that you guys would all predict was going to be 5 stars. My reread of A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which was my reread for the reread prompt. Loved it, 5 stars. It's second in the series. Third is out this week, but because of stupid Amazon doing my head in, I won't be getting it till February or March. I am never pre-ordering from Amazon again, or certainly not an American book. I will start having to pre-order from either Waterstones, but then Waterstones don't do free delivery, so shops reopen. Obviously not until you say, but gutted I won't be getting the third one straight away, but this is brilliant. Can't wait to read the third and last in the series. Loved rereading it. It was like going home again. I love this world. It's feisty, it's gory, it's everything. Bridget Kemner is one of my favourite authors ever, and I loved it. Now, the next book, I don't have my physical copy here because I read it on ebook. I managed to get The Midnight Library on the ebook, on my ebook from my Library Borrow Box app. And you guys have probably heard that it's the Matt Haig's most recent book. I want my physical copy of it because it was an amazing book and I loved it. It is about grief, it's about a life, and it's about whether we make the decisions we make and whether we could change them, and how every decision we make has an action, a consequence for our lives. And would we live differently? I know no matter what's happening in my life currently, I would not change whatever's given me my children. Excuse me. Always embarrassing. But, you know, it was a really good book. Really thoroughly just what I needed. And it got me realising that despite everything, I am lucky with what I've got. Especially right now, I am learning that I need to be grateful for what I've got. I've got this house. I've got my family. I've got my beautiful children. I've got my mum and my sisters. To have her, my mum especially, you know, just I'm really grateful. And no matter what decisions I would have made, I would never change whatever's given me what I've got. So I love that book. Now, the book so that is one of my favourites of the month, and the book that surprised me as being the joint favourite of the month. I'd never expected it. Yet again, it's another thriller that didn't expect to be a thriller of the month. Room by Emma Donoghue. This is now my new favourite book by this author. This is amazing. Again, I want to see the film. I need to get some DVDs. This is a room. It's a book to read in one sitting. I read it with the lovely Tara from, I don't remember her name, Buzzword Books. We bloody read this, and it is every bit as amazing as I wanted. It's another one that I can't decide if I'm going to keep. Basically, we start off this book. Jack is in a room with his mum. All he's known. He's 5 years old at the start of this book. He gets his 5th birthday, and all he knows is this one room. And there is this old guy who comes in every now and then, unlocks the buttons, and unlocks and comes in and delivers stuff. Jack is hidden in the wardrobe when he comes in, and Jack hears things, and that's all he's known. So it's safe to say that there is something that happens and things change. What got me thinking this book is conditioned behaviour. Our children are not just genetics. They are what we teach them, what their environment around them is. Right now, I think it got me thinking about how COVID has affected my 5-year-old. How when we come out of this, which we will do eventually, how is it going to affect the way he is? He already knows that for the last year he's not been able to hug people. And I think, to me, it's going to be a lot harder for him to adapt going back to hugging people, going back to being allowed to do things, than it would be, say, for an older child, like my 8-year-old, who all she says is, I just want to hug them, you know, and I can get that. But it's going to be a lot harder. Our children are what we make around them, and how we protect them, how we tell them things to make them safe. And the mother in this is telling her son stuff because she thinks it's what he needs to hear. So when things change and he has to see things differently, it affects him. And it's really, and this is told by Jack's point of view. This whole book is told by Jack's point of view and how a 5-year-old sees the world. And it, like I said, it made me think about how my 5-year-old sees the world and how he's going to be when things change and when he comes out of this effective room that we're in right now. It got me thinking, and this is very emotional. I found it very, like, I wanted to cry. I wanted to hug my son, I wanted to hug my daughter, but it really made me think. So this is my favourite book of the month. Anyway, this is a long video and I'm really sorry about that. What is your favourite book of the month? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'm not making sense today. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling. And I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.